right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 4:30, so we'll go ahead and get the call meeting up and running, call it to order. I know this is typically just a work session, but it is also our second public hearing on our budget. So if you were here 2 weeks ago, you get a repeat. We'll go through it probably a little bit faster than we did 2 weeks ago because I know it's already been reported on, but we're required to have two separate public hearings on the budget prior to the meeting in which we'll vote on that. So tonight will be that second one. And then we will actually have the budget, the 2024 budget on the agenda for our December 7th meeting to vote during our regular meeting. So I'm going to go back through the budget. This is the same presentation that we did last time. There had not been any amendments or changes to the budget from 2 weeks ago, but I'm going to go through and do that presentation, and then we'll move through our work session agenda just after that. So appreciate you being here. Thank you for being willing to listen a second time. So, but we'll go through and present. This is the 2024 budget. You can kind of see the topics that we're going to scroll through is moving into 24, the fund structure, proposed budgets, general fund with the highlights, revenue and expenditures, and then also referencing our SPLOST and ARPA accounts as well. Moving into 2024, we just discussed one of the things in our mission statement is transparent local government. This is one of the most important things that I think we can be transparent about is in the presentation of our budget and the management of our budget. Highlights as we're wrapping up 2023. We had no utilization of the TAN loan, tax anticipation note. We were able to manage for the second year in a row with no TAN loan. And then the year prior, we reduced it significantly. So we're ahead on most revenue categories, meaning that the revenue is exceeding the budget as we were going in. Departments are operating under next budget, most of them. New administrative software has been implemented to replace some other older systems. That is in process. We've got one part of it that's fully functional. They're working on the payroll portion now, and then we'll be rolling out the other departments following that. And we did carry in a fund balance into 2023 with $12.6 million. Which is 38.25% of the 23 operating budget. So we were able to bring that in. When we go through the budget, this is showing countywide, not just under the Board of Commissioners, but under all elected officials. There's 317 full-time employees, 67 part-time, 131 that are seasonal and temp, which includes all the rec department seasonal employees and also with the elections poll watchers as well. So this is the organization structure showing where all those individuals fall. What's underneath the middle, if you look under the Director of Administration, Director of Public Safety, those are the categories directly under the span of control of the Board of Commissioners. If you look to the right and the left, you'll see the other elected officials and other boards and authorities that also have staff as well. So that kind of gives you a breakdown of where those employees that we just mentioned are all at. In our fund structure, we have our general fund, which is the most talked about typically for your budget. We have the enterprise funds, water and airport, E911, judicial grants, SPLOST, and ARPA are all the different funds that we do have. Looking into the proposed fund budgets for 2024, the general fund budget that's proposed for 24 is both revenue and expenditures of $35,964,513. Looking at our water for 2024, the proposal is for $3.3 million for both revenue and expenditures, and airports $1.89 million carrying over into 2024. 911, showing the 911 revenue or the fund for 911 at 1.7. Judicial grants is at 4.5. ARPA, there is still a remaining $1.4 million that will be carried into 2024. There is no new revenue that's going to be coming into that, but that is the amount that has to be expended in 2024. And then what we show is the 6-year SPLOST is a total for the county portion of $30,266,000 is the budgeted amount for all 6 years combined. This is just another view showing those all on the same sheet. And if anybody needs a printout of this when we finish, I can get one together for you. Looking into details of the budget coming into 2024, this is a budget with a full property tax rollback, legal property tax reduction. Most departments are operating budgets are staying the same. Net the salaries, FICA, retirement, health insurance, and other insurance. Those are the items that are increasing. Uniform cost of living adjustment going into next year is $2,000 for all employees. It's a balanced budget. The budget is an 8.82% increase on both revenue and expenditures. And then there's no use of general fund balance. We'll be maintaining our general fund balance without. The details on the revenue side to show a breakdown of where the revenue changes looking at 23 into 24. Real property tax, there's a 1.7 million increase. That is from growth that has occurred in the county and growth to the digest. Local option sales tax, you can see there's about an $800,000 increase up to 5.5 million. Other taxes are holding the steady and the same at 8.1. Licenses and permits go up slightly, I think at $50,000. Intergovernmental revenues are actually decreasing slightly, going from 23 to 24. Charges for services go up about 320,000 up to 4.49. Fines and forfeitures are holding steady in the budget. Other revenues is also staying same, and use of fund balance is zero from both years. So that shows the breakdown of that 8.82 increase. If you want to look at that in terms of the percentage of the share in the revenue, as far as where the revenue is coming from, you can see 41% real property tax, 22% other taxes, and then all the remaining portions there make up the total of our fund balance. This is just showing it in a pie chart form where the different percentage that you can see where most of those revenues do come from. Looking into expenditures as we're going into the year, public safety, these are broken down by category. Public safety is going to go from 16.3 up to 18.18. General government has actually decreased slightly from 6.274 to 6.213. Judicial services, slight increase of 350,000 up to 4.5. Public works has had a slight increase of just under 300,000 from 4 million up to 4.298. Culture and recreation is also about a $300,000 difference, going from 1.295 up to 1.539. Housing and development has an increase from 618,000 up to 855, and health and welfare has remained the same going into the year. This is showing the share of the total budget on expenditures. If you look public safety, which is fire, EMS, 911, the marshal's office, animal control, and the sheriff's office all combined into public safety. That combines at 50.5% of the overall budget. General government's at 17.2%, and the breakdown all the way down to health and welfare is at 0.78, just less than 1%. Showing that same slide again in a pie chart, just so you can kind of see the breakdown of how that lays out. If you look at the percentage of the share in 2023 versus the percentage of the share in 2024, there's a slight increase in public safety going from 49.4 up to 50.5, so a 1% difference there. General government is where that 1% came from, so it reduced from 18.9 down to 17.28. One point to note there is we did move the marshal's office. They weren't factored in on the public safety budget. They were in the general government, so when we moved the marshal's office over, you can see that percentage change that occurred there. Looking at by function, percentage increase by function, you had public safety increase by 11.29. Judicial went up by 8.38. Culture and recreation by 18.8. Housing and development went up by 38%. Health and welfare stayed the same, and general government actually reduced by almost 1% as well. Just to show a breakdown of where most of the expenditures go, if you look at salaries, health insurance, FICA, retirement, workers' comp, defined contribution, total personnel, 72.67% of the overall budget goes to personnel. So that is the bulk of the budget is in those personnel categories. We discussed a moment ago the county share for 6 years of the SPLOST is totaling at $30.2 million. That breaks down to where we've estimated $5.044 million per year that come in through SPLOST, and it's allocated under the referendum to be broken down into road projects and facilities, parks and recreation, enterprise funds, public safety, fire and EMS, public safety, sheriff, and then water and sewer facilities. Those are the allocations that are broke down. The bulk of which is going to road projects and facilities, which is at 16 million. Just slightly over 50% is going into that category. ARPA, as we discussed before, there's no new revenue that's coming in. This is revenue that's carrying over from 23 into 24 for projects that are earmarked that are for special projects. An example of which is one that we're about to begin on is the new Talking Rock Fire Station. When we get that up and running, we'll be hopefully going out to bid on that in the very near future. And that's to be expended by the end of 2024. So we'll have the year of 2024 to work through those projects as well. As I mentioned before, there is no new revenue coming into that, but we do have it set up in a fund separate so that we can continue to manage those special projects. That is the overview of the budget for 2024. The physical copy of the entire line-by-line itemized budget is in the county clerk's office. Anyone that would like to take a look at that is welcome to come by and view the proposed budget and see the itemized line by line for each of those categories. That'll remain there until we vote on December the 7th. And then once the official budget has been approved, we will then post that onto our website so that the entire line by line budget will be presented at that point in time. Right now, it's just proposed and has not been voted on yet. So we have not published the copy, but we do have a physical copy for anyone to come and take a look at if they want to see it. Any questions from either of you? No. All right. Any questions from the public on the budget? I'll go ahead and throw that out before we move into the rest of the agenda. I really didn't think I could pull that off that fast. So. All right, so we'll move on into the remainder of the agenda for the work session so that we go through. I know that the first item that we do have is updates from planning and development. This is where Ms. Brown's going to go through and give us an update on the 6 land use change requests that we'll be voting on tonight during our meeting so that you can ask questions if you have any.
The first one that we have is from Marie Hyde. She has 4.005 acres on Highway 136 West, wants to go from highway business to suburban residential. Applicant requests a rezone for the purpose of creating 4 residential lots. There is the property. And see, it's currently zoned HB. It is surrounded by rural residential and agriculture. After reviewing the applicant's request to rezone the property from highway business to suburban residential, staff recommends approval of this rezone request. Planning Commission voted 5 yes to 0 no to approve the rezone request. The next one is from Mike Dietzel, Chana and Gabriella Families LLC. It is also located on Highway 136 before Jones Mountain Road. They are requesting a conditional use permit to build a luxury RV park with 66 sites and facilities. They have 113 acres total. You can see it right there on the map, and the star kind of indicates where they're wanting to put the RV park. They are surrounded by ag, rural residential, and also Talking Rock zoning. There's a site layout. There's 66 sites total. They have a pool, and they are also on a Mediterranean style clubhouse. The recommendation was after reviewing the applicant's request for a conditional use permit, staff recommends approval of this conditional use request. Planning Commission gave no recommendation, therefore the application carries to the Board of Commissioners in favor of the applicant.
On that one, Bethany?
Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure, if we give them the conditional use, it's just for what they actually have already planned out, correct?
Correct.
What they submitted.
That is what you, yes, sir. That's,
And any type of retention ponds and all that sort of stuff, that's all set by the state for that, correct?
that is set in their
So-
erosion control plan, yes,
So I
sir.
have to follow all of that and all the septic
Yes, sir.
requirements and everything?
Yes, sir. The next one is from Richard Paulson. He's at 131 Revis Road, Ball Ground. He has requested for suburban residential to agriculture, 14.3 acres. Applicant requests to rezone for the purpose of obtaining a conditional use permit for a horse training facility. And as you can see, there's where it's located. After After reviewing the applicant's request to rezone this property from suburban residential to agriculture, staff recommends approval of the rezone request. Planning Commission voted 5 yes to 0 no to approve the rezone request. Mr. Paulson came in, planning and development to renew his business license. And once we pulled it up, that's when we saw that that his zoning was not conducive to what he was wanting to do. He had let his business license lapse during COVID. And so when he came back in, this is the reason why he is asking for a conditional use and for a rezone for his property. This is for the conditional use, 131 Revis Road Ball Ground. Applicant requests a conditional use permit for a horse training facility. After reviewing the applicant's request for the conditional use permit, staff recommends approval of this conditional use request. Planning Commission voted 5 yes to 0 no to approve the conditional use permit request. Next we have Skillet Properties, Jerry and Kay Chastain. This one's located on Jerusalem Church Road and Hill City Road. They have 68.87 acres requesting to rezone from agriculture to rural residential. Applicant requests to rezone for the purpose of developing a subdivisions with 20 to 21 lots. It is located on 2 sides of the road. And it is surrounded by rural residential, a little bit of ag, and some suburban residential on the backside. After reviewing the applicant's request to rezone this property from agriculture to rural residential, staff recommends approval of this rezone request. Planning Commission voted 4 yes to 1 no to approve the rezone request. Next one is Affordable Investments LLC, located on Gregory Drive. They are requesting to rezone 6.24 acres from agriculture to rural residential. Applicant requests the rezone for the purpose of creating lots for resale. As you can see, there's a location map, but they are kind of like a sea of agriculture completely surrounded by rural residential. After reviewing the applicant's request to rezone this property from agriculture to rural residential, staff recommends approval of this rezone request. Planning Commission voted 5 yes to 0 no to approve the rezone request. That's it. Any questions?
I'm good. Thank you, man.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you bringing those up. So in our regular meeting, we'll have a handful of rezones. Going on into department head updates. I know we have a couple of department heads that are out this evening when we're a week from a holiday. We start having some people picking some time off. I know Wes is game on Kirk's behalf. I'll start off with the roads I drove out to Jerusalem earlier today. I don't know if that was one of the ones you were going to discuss or not, but they finished the patching and actually began the resurfacing today. They'd already made it a half a mile today when they completed. So they're going to go down to the county line and come back. Their goal is to finish by Thanksgiving. So it looks like they'll be a few days ahead of that schedule, but I'll let Wes go through and give the remainder. I may have just told you, boy.
No. In fact, I got caught when they were at the intersection of Highway 5 in Jerusalem. But in any case, paving is complete on Cove Road and World Crossroads. The patching on Jerusalem, of course, is complete, and they'll start immediately for the final surface. That's if the weather cooperates. And we hope that it does, and it looks like it will. The only work left on these contracts is thermal striping, and it's best practice to wait a couple of weeks after the surface. There will be temporary paint put down, but the final striping will be another 2 or 3 weeks. Other work is cleaning leaves from ditches and unstopping culverts and getting ready for the winter and the rainy season. The crew used up the last of the tar this week in patching, and they do that so they can get the truck clean and ready for winter, and because the temperatures make it difficult, almost impossible to do any more work. Anything else? You can ask questions of Kirk.
I will say I learned an interesting fact on the thermo striping. One of the reasons they want to wait till after it's rained is it releases a gas from the asphalt. And if you put the thermo striping on there, it'll bubble up underneath the stripes and they won't stay steady. So you want to wait for a couple weeks and have at least one rain on it before you actually put that striping down. Didn't know that. That was an interesting fact. So some type of gas gets released when they first put that surface down.
That's why it's always slick after the first paved and after it's paved and then first rain.
Yeah.
Slick, all the oils and gases come up.
So hopefully we'll get that. And if the timing works out according to what the weatherman's forecast is, they should finish paving right before we get a couple of days of rain, which should then help us move straight into striping. So I thought that was an interesting fact when I learned that. All right, Mr. Jones. I know basketball's going,
Recreation
so-
department, we've got basketball, continuing to, practice. Our first game will be on December the 2nd at the rec department. With basketball going in full swing, we just finished up with football. Thank you to the Progress for getting our stuff in there for this week. We had our K and first grade team won our Super Bowl for that age group, and then our girls flag football elementary school won their Super Bowl, and we had two cheer teams win their cheer bowl. So very successful fall sports for the rec department. Moving right into basketball and all that fun stuff that goes along with basketball, being confined in a small space. So yeah, should be good. Beyond that, we're starting to get the fields plugged with winter rye and just getting everything kind of shut down. No grass mowed, nothing like that. So starting to maintain. I'm sure you've seen Eric in the pool. He's still working on patching in the pool.
I thought he was on a skateboard when I drove.
It's a year-long job just to get that thing open for the summer months. So yeah, but that's about it.
Good. I will, as far as for an update, I know we've had a public hearing. We've met with the advisory board. We have been working on trying to gather preliminary pricing and specs so that we can start assembling a plan, hopefully in the next month to 2 months max, on being able to move forward with some projects to really make some improvements at Roper Park. So I know those were the items that were discussed, and trying to take all of those items and put them into a realistic budget. We hope to be prepared for that in the next couple of months. So I know Brian's seeing crews going down there and getting measurements and trying to do all they can so that they can then go out and work on trying to get just speculative pricing initially so that we can be prepared for bids in the future. Okay. Any questions? All right, who else wants to go? Those two I knew, so that was the easy one.
I'll go. I just have, I was going to remind everyone of our adoption event that we're doing this Saturday, the 18th. We've got some cupcakes and some cookies and donuts and stuff and some apple cider, and then we're going to have free adoptions. So just stop by, get a dog or a cat and a donut,
Okay.
some drinks.
I think all three of us accidentally put it in our calendar incorrectly for this past Saturday, and then
No,
we
that
realized
was my
afterwards.
fault.
So,
We ended up having to change it to this upcoming.
okay,
So y'all
so
didn't
we
put it
weren't
wrong.
crazy. We all kept thinking, I know I wrote that down. Okay, all right. I'm glad to hear you say that it got changed because we were questioning that one. The Veterans Day parade is going to be at the same time before the rain change that day.
I think this weekend will be a pretty weekend, so it should be pretty good for having people come up and check out our dogs and cats.
I don't need any more dogs, but I'll take a donut.
Well, stop by and get some food at least.
Opted on it. Oh, goodness. All right, so anybody else have any updates that they want to present?
Still dry.
We need the rain we were talking about earlier. We just need just a couple more days to finish that paving. If we could get just a little bit more, but we definitely would like to see it.
Well, before we get started now, talking about it being dry, I just came, maybe an hour ago off of one local landscaping company. Had a small fire there that he thought was gonna be small. It actually took off and we had spot fires all through the woods and the wind's blowing about 20 or 30 miles an hour. So, I mean, we're still receiving them. But everybody pretty much got the code red call that we had put out. The reason for that was on the weekend of the 4th and 5th of November, we ran about 10 to 12 brush fires right back to back. Some of those were actually 2 and 3 times to the same place. They decided they was going to burn their garbage. Fire department puts it out. They go back out there that afternoon and lights it, and it takes off again. On Sunday the 5th, that afternoon, Georgia Forestry had reached out to a battalion chief and said, hey, we need help. What can y'all do to help us? So he called me and we talked back and forth, and he's like, hey, you think code red? So I immediately called Christy and we pushed that out. It worked very well. You know, the fire slowed down, everything seemed to slow down. Then on Monday, the 6th, I got a call from Georgia Forestry saying, hey, what do you think about a total burn ban? Gilmer's in one now. What do you think about it? And I said, well, our fires have calmed down now. Can we maybe hold it off for a week until that Friday? He said, all right, we'll give it a try. So basically where we're at now with the burn ban is there's 12 or 13 counties around us that's in a total ban. We're the one sitting in the middle that is not. And the reason I didn't go for the total ban was because I had a lot of calls about recreational fires, cooking fires, and that kind of thing. So basically what I did is on high fire days, there's no burning at all. If they call in or if we go out or we see one, we ask them to put it out, other than a recreational fire, a cooking fire, or a warming fire. And we put into play that the area of that fire had to be cleaned out all the way around it, down to the dirt, and it had to be supervised the whole time they were out there. That's what I still have in play now. You know, we're going to have some hits or misses, but this is the first really big one that we've had that took a chance of getting away that we've had since we put the ban in play. So right now it's just touch and go, and for me to be able to put a total burn ban in Pickens County, I have to go to Gilmer County to the forest office and go before a board and actually request that to be able to get that ban. If it gets bad enough to where we get back, we're running 10, 15 fires and we're stretching our resources thin, then that may be something that we look at. But for right now, I'm keeping everything to the recreation, cooking, and warming fire, with it being supervised and down to the dirt, cleaned out around it because of all the foliage that's on the ground right now.
Very good. Thank you. Any other updates? Any general discussion outside the items that we've gone over? Just a ton of conversation. And next week we've got Thanksgiving, so the office will actually be closed on Thursday and Friday of next week, so families can get, all of our employees can enjoy time with their family for Thanksgiving as well, and hopefully everyone here will be able to do the same. And we look forward to seeing everybody when that's wrapped up. We will have our 5:30 regular meeting that will be coming up shortly. Just a reminder that our budget approval will be at the December 7th meeting as well. So that'll be the meeting that we do vote for the budget at that particular time. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
We'll consider this adjourned, and we'll have our regular meeting again at 5:30. Thank you.